Hello, welcome everybody. Yes! You wanted to applause, didn't you? In a landmark case in Australia, Sall Grover's women-only app, Giggle, has been found to have discriminated against a trans-identifying male after he was barred from using the service. The judge ruled that Roxanne Tickle had suffered indirect discrimination and Sall Grover was ordered to pay $10,000 and costs. The founder of the app, Sall Grover, is appealing this, and she is here right now from Australia in the audience. Next to the audience, here, in the studio. Sall, welcome. I hope your jet lag is now finished. Please update us on the case, because you have been on the show before. We've known that this went to court and they actually found against you, right?
Yeah, so basically, in August last year, we got the decision and the judge said that sex is not binary, it's changeable. Basically, men can be women. And it was indirect discrimination that basically it's not guilty because it's not criminal, but it's, you know, that basically you get ruled against. And indirect discrimination essentially means that you don't have to know that this person has a gender identity. It's just the fact that they had one, whether I was aware of it or not. So that was sort of what was extra sinister about it. But sort of in this interesting, endless soap opera that is the Tickle v. Giggle, Giggle v. Tickle case, the applicant, Roxanne Tickle, is actually cross-appealing. So I'm appealing to the decision, because obviously it's nonsense. But so is he. He's actually appealing the decision. He won. Yeah. And he wants it changed from indirect to direct discrimination, and he wants more money. Wow.
So what's one of the interesting parts of this case is because Australia, the situation is very different, because here the courts kind of saved the gender critical movement because we didn't have the legislation that you have in Australia, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, you guys are sort of fighting tooth and nail to make sure that gender identity doesn't go into law. In Australia, they actually got it in 2013.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it's not like the law has been working well in the last, 12 years or whatever. I mean, the Australian Human Rights Commission especially has been intimidating women, men, businesses to comply to this nonsense. And I don't know, they just messed with the wrong one.
Yeah, there it is. Yes, you deserve a round of applause, because this has taken years of your life and taken potentially millions of dollars, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just that it's so stupid. It's very rare in life that you actually ever know that you are 100% right. We actually usually do exist in some sort of humility where we're like, oh, look, there's a chance I could be wrong. Men are not women. They're not in any way, shape or form. I'm 100% right about this. They are wrong. So when it first started, and people were coming after me, I was like, no, you have to stand your ground on something like this, because obviously it's women's rights and LGBT rights were the canary in the coal mine, and sort of child protection. But it's everyone. No one should be forced to believe this nonsense. It's freedom of speech, freedom of belief and freedom of association. Gender ideology is against all of it. And some fights are too important and some moments in history are too important that you can't sit back. So,
yeah, and that's it. So you put yourself out there. What's been the personal cost to you? Because at least it feels like in the UK, the groundswell of women, mostly women, standing up and fighting back. We had J.K. Rowling publicly making a statement on this case and pushing this and letting people know of all of the issues, highlighting them. But it doesn't feel, just from here, watching what's going on in Australia, it doesn't feel like there's the same focus. It even gets the same kind of media attention, right?
I mean, that's why I'm here, because in Australia, the censorship is... I mean, it's just horrific. Both media and politicians want to pretend that there is no issue. They keep telling us the politicians will just dismiss it, saying there's no issue. And it's like, well, if there's no issue, can you let the Australian Human Rights Commission know? Because they've dragged me and other women through court for multiple years. And if there's no issue, let us have women-only spaces. Let us have women-only sport.
Well, that's been that's what it was like here a few years ago. Hashtag no debate. There is no conflict of interest. There is no problem with women's sports, women being safe in women's-only spaces and women's jails.
I mean, there's so many sinister aspects of it as well. Even in our case, we put on, I think it was 16 affidavits of women just saying why this was important. We could have had thousands, but you just do a cross-section so that the judge will actually read them, of why women wanted women-only spaces in various different domains, whether it was online, in real life. We also had Reem Al-Salim, the UN Special Rapporteur, writing to say, this man, The judge dismisses it all. So it's, you know, we have things like Sharia law. We've always heard that, you know, you need 3 women for 1 man. But in Australia, I mean, 17 women, including myself, our voices dismissed for this 1 man claiming to be a woman.
And how must it be that level of gaslighting you're going to feel from the totality of your society? It is
gaslighting, and it's psychologically sometimes really hard to deal with. That I have to take a moment and be like, okay, like the government is essentially trying to force me to believe something. I mean, and just so many different elements of it, even just in like a free speech aspect of it. During the hearing, when I was being cross-examined, I was asked to look, like, in the court book at a meme, and I laughed. And it was very funny. It was a meme of the applicant as a cartoon of him saying that he didn't like the smell of sweaty balls. And I
think we can all agree with that.
That's why you didn't want to use male change rooms. And the absurdity of the situation, I'm literally sitting in Australia's federal court, like this, other than the High Court, the highest court in the land, and I'm being asked to look at this ridiculous cartoon, and I just laughed because this is so absurd. That was the damages. I was charged $10,000 for that laugh.
Wow, for that laugh. For that laugh.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, it's listening to your story, and it's very rare that I would say this, but it makes me more grateful to be in the UK when it comes to free speech than to deal with what you're going through. But the slightly scary thing is that this actually has implications for the UK, right? It does. I mean,
potentially. Yeah. I mean, yeah. This case has implications sort of all around the world. Especially when you're dealing with sort of what they call novel law, and then you've also got situations where lots of jurisdictions don't have any precedents, which in Australia, I mean, this is it. This is the precedent right now. Also common law countries. So we're all sort of joined together by CEDAW, which is what we were all signatories of, which is the UN's Convention of the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. So our Sex Discrimination Act is based on, it's a document protecting women's rights. It's a beautiful document, but they're just misinterpreting it and trying to say that gender identity is in there. It's not. And so we're defending that. It's like every case that happens, it sort of can help everybody else. We're sort of in this global movement together, but this one just has very specific legal issues.
So what are the next steps for you in your case then? So
we're doing the appeal. So we have the next hearing. It's like an interlocutory hearing, which is where it's sort of the different interveners, the Australian Human Rights Commission has applied to intervene again against me. The Australian Christian Lobby, you said bedfellows that you meet along the way here, they've applied to intervene on my side. So it will be decided whether they can. Also, it's where the money fight is going to really happen. I mean, I'm in a rights fight, and this is public interest litigation. I want women's rights. I want my rights. The other side is in a money fight. They want money. So if he is actually, it hasn't completely been established, we're trying to stop it. If he is awarded rights on top of the $1 million legal bill for my own legal team that I'm fundraising for, and I'm happy to pay my legal team because these are amazing people who are fighting for our rights for all of these very important freedoms. I'm not here raising money for his legal team. He can go and do that himself. So, but if he is awarded costs and we were to lose the whole thing, I'm looking at what, a $2 million legal bill? Just for knowing that a man's a man.
Sal, we we hear lots of stories, and my job is very superficial compared to what you do. What I want to say is you're a hero.
Oh, thank you.
You're fighting for rights for all of us, including over in the UK. I'm sorry that you don't have the backing that you deserve in your own country. Thank you so much for coming on, and you inspire me.
Oh,
and
thank you so much. Thank you.
Sall Grover, everybody.